These guys couldn't wait to smuggle in a load of marijuana and make that kind of money.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Becoming the King of Pot. I'm Todd Denkin, and with me, as usual, is my infamous King of Pot cousin, Bruce Perlowin. Bruce, welcome back to Becoming the King of Pot.
Thank you, Todd. And today I'm very excited because I have one of my best friends in my entire life on today, Kelly, and he'll be talking about his experiences in me becoming the King of Pot and what his involvement was.
Yes, we are going to introduce Kelly in 1 second, but before we do, please, if you're seeing us for the first time or for the 100th time, it doesn't matter. Please like and share and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It really helps us here at Becoming the King of Pot. So like Bruce said, his childhood friend, Kelly Douthit, is with us. Kelly, welcome to Becoming the King of Pot. How's it going today?
Good, Todd. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're coming to us live from Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Yeah.
So we appreciate you logging in and, joining us here.
Yeah.
We want to really delve into your relationship with Bruce and how that started, because I know you guys were childhood friends. You literally worked with him in Florida and California, and you were a bit of a spiritual advisor there for a minute. So let's talk about first how you guys met and what is it that attracted you most to Bruce?
Okay, so I moved to Miami in the middle of 10th grade. And so I didn't know anybody. So I was out at recess on the playing field, just standing there by myself, uh, talking to nobody. And Bruce just walks up and he introduces himself to me. And right away, I thought, yeah, this is really cool. He's doing this. And there's kind of a glint in his eye or something. So I think we hit it off right away, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, there is a bit of a glint in Bruce's eyes. I mean, he has this, I always say, he's got this Manson-like ability to attract people to him. You know how Charles Manson, would attract doctors, lawyers, musicians, Hollywood people, and homeless people, right? So
Yeah.
I always felt that Bruce had that same sort of mysterious attraction to himself. Did you see that also?
Yeah, I call it recruitment power. He could, like the fisherman with the boats. I mean, he could be very convincing. Like you say, he had a power to draw people into his plans. And and a lot of people were happy that happened.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So you meet this freewheeling hippie on the playground. He's an athlete. Does he start inviting you around? Is he introducing you to the friend group? Tell me how that works.
Okay. He I told him I play music. And he said, "Oh, okay, so I need to introduce you to Bob Margolis, a guy that became my lifelong friend and who I wrote music with, played, performed with." And so that was the first one of the group that I met. Next was Dave Tobias. And then it just grew from there, you know. Bruce was a very special character in high school. I think he said that while he was an athlete, he also had this hippie thing going. And so, so for other hippies, it's like, oh, Bruce, he's kind of special. He's an athlete, but he's not a jock. He's one of us.
And by the way, why would I walk up to somebody in the middle of the field? I remember when I did that. The reason why is because the 60s was just blossoming in North Miami. That was the year of the Summer of Love out in San Francisco, but it was sort of new and just leaking into North Miami. He had long hair, so he was one of our tribe.
Oh, that's funny. So that was the sign, right? Long hair, invite him into the group.
So Todd, here's the big deal between him and me, the way it started. I just accidentally had this spiritual experience. I was writing stream of consciousness poetry, and I realized, wait, I'm not this stream of thoughts that's going by. I'm the observer. And at that point, the spiritual experience ensued that was light, bliss, and a feeling of oneness. And I didn't know what was going on. And also insights that I didn't expect, like reincarnation, for instance, right?
Hmm.
So I go to high school there at Norland, where we went to high school, and I look at what is this? What's going on? And it was a yoga thing that I related to. It's, these yogis would work for years and years and try to have this experience, and I just lucked into it. Okay, so here I have this experience, it's life changing. It's really important to me. None of my friends are interested at all. In fact, they make fun of me about me
Sure.
meditating, except Bruce.
Sure.
Bruce was the only one that was interested and seemed to have some insight on it before I talked to him about it, you know? And like he's talked in the past, his dad taught him to sit in the lotus position and to meditate. But so that launched a whole sequence of events between him and me. Because what happened was, I told him about this experience. Like I see, he kind of knew. He had a feeling about it. So we started studying the whole thing. Like he said, we went to the Theosophical Society. They had a lot of books on ESP and occult stuff. But we got into the way the LSD came in was Timothy Leary, Alan Watts, Aldous Huxley, and what they said was, in the right environment, the right setting, and the right state of mind, the set, you could have the spiritual experience without meditating for years, decades, you know? Okay, so Bruce and I were involved with this. We learned a lot about yoga, including about prana, and we'll talk about that. Um, so he
So
got,
Bruce, wait, let me
yeah, sure,
interrupt
sure.
you real quick. Yeah, so Bruce, so Kelly introduces you to yoga, and you're already a yoga. Are you just thinking, wow, kind of like a soulmate kind of an introduction?
Well, not an a kindred spirit, but I was fascinated with the subject matter. Like I said, I was meditating since I was 7, but I didn't know about prana. I didn't know about dharma or karma or reincarnation or all these other concepts, which were, yogic concepts or, the books we read were 14 Lessons in Yoga Philosophy and Oriental Occultism. And occultism is just, it has a sort of a weird connotation to most people. It's not, it's just yoga sciences. And there's yoga, you talk about the chakras. That's a cult, okay? Everybody knows about the chakras. They're right there in the poster behind me. And there's yoga centers, 10 of them in every city in America now. But back then, that information was the realm of Kelly, who was teaching it to me.
Right,
And he
right,
was a
and
really
the
good
other
student.
guys, yeah, and the other guys were kind of making fun of him, and how were you guys able to just kind of rise above all of that and not really care about what the other people thought?
We were fixated. We were really interested. I was totally, it was so life changing that it
Yeah,
was the biggest deal I had going. And he was the only guy I could share it with. And
yeah,
he seemed to have an aptitude for all that stuff, you know? And we did this serious study of, occultism, ESP. Like he said, there's a bad connotation with that word, occultism, but it was
yeah.
really about expanded capabilities that we all have, but we don't make use of them. And this kind of activity, the meditation, the prayer, the whole deal, kind of can wake this up. Okay,
And
so
what were you
Bruce.
getting from all of this stuff? What was it giving you?
Well, I was giving me spiritual companionship because I was all on my own, and he really understood. So we read the same books, and including these books about LSD. That was a big deal. LSD and psilocybin, that you could have this spiritual experience using LSD, and we pursued that. And so the idea was you have somebody that's tripping on LSD, you're in the right setting, they have the right mindset, and then you have a ground, somebody that keeps everything cool, that assures you that everything's going to be okay, and has the same goal as you have. A lot of times, this experience includes this bright white light, and that goes with this experience of oneness with the whole universe and this bliss of having this awakening. So they call it enlightenment. Well, it includes light. So so Bruce seemed to understand, and he wanted the experience, right? So we got the situation. We had the right setting, calm. He had the right state of mind because he was open to have an experience like this. And sure enough, he did. He had this profound awakening. But what I really want to focus on is the aftermath. Because after this experience, he became extremely focused on doing good for all of mankind. The
Hmm.
first thought he had was a healing center that didn't cover just medical, but also psychological and spiritual. And so, what I want to stress is his humanitarian approach, his philanthropic humanitarian approach that yeah, that stayed on during his experience with the company,
Right.
because
Bruce,
there,
Bruce, was it that LSD trip that opened up your mind to really want to help and save the world?
Yes and no. Marijuana started that process. Marijuana opens up centers in your brain, expands your consciousness, and makes you think from a different perspective. You really see you're not becoming Ozzy and Harriet and Leave It to Beaver and the established order. Right? But it was that LSD, when you go into the white light, they call it samadhi, satori, enlightenment. You're one with the universe, with everything. I mean, it's really a powerful, joyful, full of love experience. So you have
yes,
this enormous love, and you realize that love is the basis of the universe. The universe is an intelligent entity, but the main emotional outgassing, if you could, or out is love, pure love. So yes, that's is powerful thing, and that started my let me help the whole planet. Let's turn the whole planet into
yes.
a Garden of Eden.
So
Right.
people
Right.
didn't know about that. People didn't
Yeah.
understand where he was on the inside deep. They just saw this successful smuggler, smart, having a scope and competence that was unparalleled as far as I can tell from the podcast. So I just wanted to really stress that his big motivation was towards doing something for the whole world. Mine was I wanted to get that experience back. You know, it was so
Yeah.
good. That's
Yeah.
what I was focused on, and
Yeah.
helping him was just
And
great.
right, was it easy achievable to get that experience back? Was it just another trip, or did
Oh
you have to
no,
really focus in on what you wanted to do?
oh no, yeah. See, he was able to do it through LSD. I really didn't. I couldn't get back there with LSD. It
Hmm.
was more like a prayer and meditation thing, and just trying to live. They called it dharma. You live a lifestyle with certain rules that that prepare you to receive that experience. It's not something with LSD. You say it made that happen, but that's not true. His mindset had everything to do with the fact that he had this experience. Uh,
And the
so
LSD just helped it along?
well, it was more than that. The LSD
Yeah.
opened it up, opened him up to where he could receive this experience.
I
And
see.
for him, he jokes now, but yeah, I saw the white light, and it was next. But for me, yeah, for me, it was the whole. It's still true. It's the motivation of my life, and my rule was no lying. I didn't tell lies, and and of course, people took advantage of that and asked me questions that I didn't really never want to answer. But
Right.
but the and that's why I didn't get into the pot dealing. And this is real nerdy, but I didn't because I would have to lie on my neck.
He almost
So
got into trouble a couple times, like, for instance, when we shipped back some THC or mescaline from California, and his mom says, "Kelly, is there drugs in that package?" And he goes, "I'm not gonna answer that question."
yeah, yeah, it was so funny, Todd. A group of us went out to California, and it was to get connected, right? And I wasn't into it, but they said, "Kelly, come on, come on, come on." So I went. And so I hung out at music stores, and out there, the owner would encourage you to have a jam. So I met this guy from the Navy, and he said, I finally told him what was going on. He said, "Oh, you need to meet the ship dealer. He's in the Navy. He worked on a ship, but he came home to apartment every night." Okay, so
Yeah.
this guy Ski says, "Okay, I only want to see you and Kelly, nobody else." So as here I am, I don't smoke pot, I don't take acid, and I go to his apartment in Haight-Ashbury, and he dips a little match, not a kitchen match, a little match from a matchbook, and he has me snort it. And for the next 4 hours, it was just I was a couple feet off the ground. We toured, friends', cool apartments there in the Haight, and, it was really special, and it turns out it was pure THC, extremely
So
rare.
like a THC powder, like a
Yes,
Keith.
yes, extremely
Got it.
rare, and also, you needed to be skeptical about such a thing because THC would be mixed with PCP, or they give you straight PCP, or
Yeah.
somehow it'd be adulterated. It wasn't. This was pure. So the guys got onto it right away. Yeah, we want that. So what they did, it was so powerful that they had to mix it with rose hips. And even then, they put them in those little tiny coin bags, and, uh, and that's what happened. There was an earthquake in Southern California, and I said, "I want hurricanes, I don't want no earthquakes." So I sold my guitar, and I got
Right.
a ticket, and so right at then, all the coin bags, the whole shipment was ready to go. And they said, "Hey, would you take it?" And I said, "Yeah," and I wouldn't make any money from it, see? I never made any money from it until after my car wreck, which we'll talk about. Um,
Right.
I took it, and ironically, the plane landed, and nobody was allowed to get off the plane. And so my
Uh-oh.
mom and my brother George, who is also mentioned in these podcasts, they were out. And back in those days, the friends could get out to the actual terminal, and you could see the plane and
Right.
everything.
Right.
So they saw
Right.
this happening. Nobody's getting off the plane, and then here come cops getting on the plane, and they're thinking, "Oh no, what has he done?" Turns out it was a hijacked attempt. Is what had
Oh
happened.
my goodness.
Yes, and we didn't none of the passengers knew about it for some reason. I guess the guy must have jumped into the cabin, and somehow the captain whelmed him and took him down, and then they basically hold him on the floor. The cops came, took him off, got off the plane, and there was no problem with I wasn't caught with anything. And so
And
that
you
wa
as a passenger and other passengers had no idea this was all happening on the plane that you were
not at
on?
all. None of us knew. All we knew is
You
the
must have been
pilot.
you must have been back in the smoking section, back in the early days when planes
Yeah.
had smoking sections, right?
Yeah, and they had even when I started flying for IBM, they still had ashtrays in the armrests of
Yeah.
plane
Yeah,
seats.
yeah, yeah.
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 Okay, so that
Yeah,
was a
that's funny.
very popular, product. It was pure, gave you great high. There was no, adulteration to it. And so I had help, but I didn't make any money. I was not involved in that business.
And
Uh,
why didn't you wanna make any money from it? Seeing as how you had to
well,
sell your guitar
it
to buy
it
a plane ticket to
it
get
was a
back home.
yeah, it was a matter of my dharma that I didn't lie. And so in any case, so if I made money and I didn't declare it and say, "Oh, I made money selling pot," well, that I
Ah,
told I was nerdy.
interesting.
It was definitely nerdy, and people
Yeah,
laughed
yeah,
about it and
yeah.
took advantage of me and asked me questions that I really didn't want to answer. But that was just
Yeah,
like
it's
I
like the
say.
movie Liar Liar, right? It's
Exactly.
like with,
Yes.
is that you? Yeah?
Yeah,
With
yeah.
Jim Carrey?
So it was part of a
Yeah.
spiritual discipline. And so
Got
Bruce
it.
nobody else really understood it, I don't think, but Bruce did.
Yeah.
So we were very close as friends, but as spiritual comrades, spiritual
Right.
brothers
Right.
seeking this growth of consciousness and spiritual understanding together as a team. Yeah. So,
That's nice. That probably formed a special bond between you
well, it
guys.
did. It really did. Yeah. And
And
the thing
Bruce, how
about
would you describe that bond?
Well, we had my best friends are David Tobias and Bob Milstein because the three of us started in elementary school together. Then Kelly, so you have those three guys. Then Kelly came along, and then Bob Margolis and Stan Suture and Sally Heck and maybe Wendy Stark, maybe was in and out. Janine, Alice, girlfriends, and were in and out. But Kelly was a the spiritual lifestyle we did the yoga. We went to Baba Ram Dass meetings. Did you go onto the yachts with Ken Keyes and listen to him? He was in a wheelchair. He had a yacht in Coconut Grove and would give spiritual talks.
The only
And when,
time I was ever on that yacht was the night of your wedding to Diane. You guys invited me to go on your little jaunt out into the ocean with Ken and his yacht, and I slept on the deck. There were dolphins and everything. It was great. It was really
yeah.
great.
So he was part of the intense spiritual searching. David and Bob, they were interested mildly, but it wasn't their thing. It was Kelly and
Right.
my thing. So, like he went to the white light, I went to the white. That's a very rare experience, and it does impact your life and what you do for the rest of your life for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. So you're Bruce's sort of spiritual partner, right? And you don't really want to lie, cheat, or steal. So how do you end
I
up
was
working?
okay. I was okay with it.
I
Yeah.
know. I know.
Not stealing,
Now,
and not
Todd,
cheating, but
here's
lying
the
was
cool,
Exactly.
fine.
Right.
here's the
Right.
cool thing. Bruce told me everything. He told me all about his company. He told me about the dock. I was skeptical because he said, "Got this dock. You can bring a barge with 200,000 pounds in." And I thought, well, if anybody could do that, it'd be him. But I don't know, But you
Right.
heard what a great thing that turned out to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
somehow
Of
knew it.
course.
He had this feel for it, the radar shadow. But what strikes me, what I've learned in these podcasts is the scope of the company and the competence. He was extremely competent. And he was in that case, in that way, he was an extremely good manager. First of all, he had the
Yeah.
recruitment power. He would pick somebody that he knew would be right, and then he would lure them in with his magical charisma. Yeah. So means
Yeah.
so I'm
He's still using that magical charisma to
oh
this
yeah.
day.
Oh
Right.
yeah. Uh-huh.
It's just called being a salesman, but,
Yeah.
I talk about luring in the fishermen. I did that. I talked about that and got newspaper reporters report on that to get them their sentences cut. Believe me,
Yes.
I did not lure any fishermen into reality. These guys couldn't wait to smuggle in a load of marijuana and make that kind of money. There was no luring. There was no. They were arguing who gets to go on the next trip.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh
That's
man.
funny.
Yeah. So
Right.
I'm not.
So
I
Kelly, so
know
you're
about
living
every.
this.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you're living this this incredible life of spirituality. You're helping Bruce. You're going down this journey. And how do you get wrapped up in the organization or the company first in Florida?
Okay, so what happened there was, I was going to junior college. I came back from that trip to get back to the hurricane, and I started going to Miami-Dade Junior College, and I happened to take an astronomy course, and I got hooked. I got hooked on physics and astronomy and astrophysics, which back in those
Hmm,
days was just optical astronomy and radio astronomy. Now,
yeah.
University of Florida had that was they were one of the top 10 schools for astrophysics because they had this special deal with this huge radio telescope in Arecibo, Puerto Rico, and they had kind of an exclusive on it. So I went and I had a scholarship, and so I had a free ride. Went to University of Florida to study this. So I became I became really steeped in stuff until I realized I want to be a scientist. They don't have any free time. They're never
Right.
outside. They don't get paid shit. So, So I just quit. I didn't know anything practical. So I got a book on car mechanics and became a mechanic apprentice. And so this
And you
girl,
left UF? Did you leave
yeah,
UF?
I just walked out.
Oh wow.
Just walked
Wow.
right in the middle of
Go
a semester, a
go
quarter. There were
Gators.
4 of those a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
I was
here I'm
kicked
working.
out. They asked me to leave.
There you
But
go.
but you just walked away. Yeah.
I just walked out, yeah. Okay,
Got it.
so I'm working at this gas station, and this girl comes to get gas. She sees my motorcycle, which Bruce bought me for me, this great big Kawasaki Z1 1000, uh, you know, uh, strong, fast motorcycle. She sees that and she says, "Oh, whose is that?" And it's me. So we kinda get, real friendly. She comes back to see me. So then I decided I'm gonna see her. She lived outside Gainesville. So I borrow Craig's van, and I'm driving to go see this girl, and the lady in front of me, it turned out, saw a kid that her daughter knew outside the high school, which was just getting let out, waved to them and smashed at full speed in behind me, shoved me and of course our neck whipped back, and Craig's van wrapped around a guy in front of me had a boat, and the the boat the van was just wrapped around the boat engine, you know. So
Oh
it
my
was a
goodness.
total loss. But what happened there was I was
And
really
those no
injured.
seatbelt laws back then
No
also.
seatbelt, no
Yeah.
headrest at all.
Yeah.
So, when
Yeah.
she hit me full speed, it just snapped back and you could hear the pop and everything. Okay,
Oh my
so
goodness.
I was injured. I was seriously injured. I couldn't even pump gas. And so Bruce had a house there in
It's
Gainesville.
all
A
because there was a pretty girl there,
There you go.
right? You can blame everything on pretty girls.
There you go. There you go. Okay, so he let me live in the house. And so, um, I I was there when the redwood came in to populate the Magic Woodsmiths with furniture. You know, I didn't
Yep.
do any of the work, but I was there to watch the whole thing. It was very cool. Okay, so then he's got that stash house down in Miami on 6th Avenue, and so uh, I go back down there and I see what's happening, but I'm injured. I can't work. I've got no way to earn money. So Bruce tells me, and I didn't know other people did this. I didn't know about Sally, etc. Bruce. So he says, "Listen, how about this? We get 3 American touristers, fill them up with gold." He had some really good Santa Marta gold. I mean, this was great stuff. So we filled the American touristers, and they knew this way to seal it completely up and then have this pull open deodorizer thing, and you could not smell. There was no fragrance of pot whatsoever. So I go ahead, I fly out to San Francisco, I go to his guy, hand off the American Touristers, and I fly back. Bruce pays me, I don't know what it was, but it was very generous, and it was just what I needed because I didn't have any money at all. Okay,
Yeah.
he said, "Well, how'd it go?" I said, "Yeah, it's great. A piece of cake. I like your guy. I'd never met him
As
before." It
as
wasn't
long
Arthur.
It
Go
wasn't
ahead.
Arthur? As
No.
long as the security guard didn't say, "Is there any drugs in there?"
Yeah. Yeah. Woo. Okay. So he
That's right.
says,
Bruce, so what do you pay a guy to make a delivery like that across the country?
$1,000.
yeah,
Got it.
which was, like you said, that was in, 79 or whatever it was, money.
Yeah.
So it was a big deal. Okay, so he says, "You wanna do it again?" So that's what I did. Got r the whole thing did the whole thing all over again right away. And, like Bruce has said, there was really no he really wasn't serious, you know? Uh, but I think those American touristers woulda, fooled a dog sniffing, little detective, smelling the pot. So anyway, so here I am. I'm able to, get going, I'm able to start a life with, some cash, you have rent an apartment, etcetera. Okay, so then I start thinking, "Boy, this is interesting, and I can't work." I wanted to have a real job. I didn't wanna get into drug dealing, but it did. And,
Right. It's
you're
right.
right.
But
And
just by
so
default, right?
by default, yeah. And so I had no experience with it, but I was lucky. And so I've said in my story that I sent to you guys, Bruce was really, really surprised when I brought him my first 250,000 from selling weight. Then he thought, "Well, okay, well, maybe Kelly can actually do this."
Well, how do you go from delivering a couple of suitcases to a $250,000 worth of weed?
Luck, luck, and
Well,
a
I fronted him
reputation.
like £1,000.
Yeah,
That's a $250,000.
yeah, yeah,
Right.
Which house were you in? Were you in the Alaska house, or were you in my house up
yeah.
in Gainesville?
It was the Alaska House. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And
So he had
Marianne was
moved
in.
out, got his own he got in his own house, and I was fronting him parts of my loads. At that point, I was bringing in 8,000 pounds with Darrell Boyd from the Smith Brothers, and I think some of that went up there. And each load, you're getting a load every week. Your own load, someone's load. So I sent 1,000 to Kelly. I trusted Kelly. He was not going to lie.
Right. Well, looking up at the time clock on the wall, we've clearly run over time. We've got about 50 extra minutes of Kelly. So what we're going to do, we're going to break this up into a second episode. So we'll see the second part coming soon. I'm Todd Denkin. He's Bruce Perlowin. That is Kelly Douthit. And this has been Becoming the King of Pot.